Wayne with Digging Diesel. Out here at the property today, catching a break in the weather. Last night we had some storms. Luckily it missed our property out here, but it looks like we're probably not going to get so lucky today, so I wanted to get out here as soon as I could. It's been about 2 weeks since we've had any rain, so the lower pasture at this point is fairly dry. We have some floodplain down there, so it has a tendency to get a little bit muddy, so I try to take advantage of the fact of it being dry. So I'm out here with my TYM tractor. It's a cab tractor. Gets hot in Texas, so the main reason I got this was to get a little bit of AC, a little bit of comfort, and avoid any wasp nests. So this one is a 4215, so it's 42 horsepower on a 15 series frame. It's plenty for what I need. We have 25 acres out here, so this gets everything done for the most part. I do have an old John Deere 450 on the property, which I use for any of the heavy lifting. Main reason I got that 450 was we eventually plan on building a pond down in that lower pasture. So for now, we're just using it for recreation. We're gonna get down there today, get it mowed up. I might leave a little bit of a strip there for the deer. That way they have a nice little vegetation patch. But let's get this unloaded and get it going. It's giving me some grief here. The PTO shaft, it seems to be frozen right now. I don't have any PP blaster with me or a mini sledgehammer. With time being limited, I'm going to have to go and use my 5-foot brush hog pins, and it's ready to hook up. So since I'm limited on time, I'm just going to have to hook up the brush hog and get after it. I have finished about 5 passes at this point around the outer part of the pasture. This is always the slowest part because it's the outer perimeter. It's probably about 90 degrees today right now, 100% humidity, pretty close to it. As I mentioned earlier, we expect some storms later this afternoon. Main reason I'm trying to get this pasture knocked out. The air conditioning, I can always tell when this thing's getting clogged up because the air conditioning starts to blow a little bit warmer. So as you can see, there's quite a bit of pollen and just debris that's collecting on the grill. Has a tendency to get inside on the condenser as well, which is why the AC stops blowing as cold. So I stopped here for a minute, popped the hood open, check to make sure that the radiator and the condenser are still free and open. Don't want to overheat the engine. It's about the worst thing you can do. This tractor, it does have a sensor on it, so it alarms you when it does overheat, but it does not have a temperature gauge. So something that I need to put in the future. I'd rather monitor as it goes up rather than once it's boiling hot. So let's go ahead and get this hood open and take a look. This isn't too bad. It was enough to slow it down a little bit, but I've seen a lot worse out here. Typically I have my little electric DeWalt blower. That way I can blow it off, but with the removable screen in front of the radiator, it makes it pretty easy. So we'll get it brushed off and get it back going again. Coolant level is still good. Everything's looking pretty clean in here. No debris. Get this hood closed and we'll get going again. Nothing will stop you quicker than a broken shear pin. I'd say I'm probably just past third way done. I broke the original shear pin when I hooked it up at the top of the property. Problem with that one, it was rusty. I was able to get a galvanized one out of the back of the truck, but it didn't survive. Ant hills out here, they can be pretty big. I think that's what ended up causing it to bog down enough to shear it off. So I'm gonna go back to the truck, see if I happen to have one more left. I got lucky that I had a couple of galvanized carriage bolts in my truck bed with the nuts. So I was able to finish mowing. If I didn't have those, I would have had to call it quits. The first one that I had on, it was rusty, old. I think it was a grade 5, but with rust, it had weakened it. And that's the only reason it let go. First ant hill, and it was gone. The galvanized carriage bolts, they're not quite as strong, but ultimately they did the job. The first two I broke on a couple more fire ant hills. When I put the third and final one that I had in, I knew that I had to change something, so I lifted the brush hog probably another inch or so higher. That way I had the clearance. If I did come across any more mounds, it wouldn't be an issue. It would just kind of skim over the top of them and not slow down the blades to the point where it would snap that shear pin. With the grass in some of these areas being over 5 foot tall, it's making it super challenging for me to see some of the ruts that the wild hogs have put in here. They're scattered all over the place. When they bed down, they like to rut up and lay in this area. And normally it's pretty confined, so when I hit it, I know every time I come around to try to watch out for that area. But normally it's only about the width of 3 or 4 passes. But I have them all over the pasture, so it's making it a little bit challenging, making it for a bumpy ride. Can't go quite as fast as I would like to, but ultimately we're going to get it done. Finished up the lower pasture here. Like I said earlier, it's roughly, well, it's just under 10 acres out here. Our total property is 25 acres. Today I was going to come out with the flail mower. I'll show you a little clip earlier. I was struggling. The actual PTO shaft was jammed, so I wasn't in a position with a sledgehammer or a PB blaster to get it to break free. So ended up just putting the brush hog on and got after it. Need to get done. Like I said, there's some storms coming later today. So I wanted to get this cut before it gets too muddy again. Brush hog here, it's slow, 5 foot at a time. The flail mower that I have is a 8-footer, and it covers a lot more ground than this little guy does. But ultimately, got the job done. Not perfect, but accomplished what I came here to do today. As you can tell, I'm sweating, and that's even in the AC cab of the tractor. It is hot out here today. Humidity's probably in the 90% and higher. I can hear thunder in the background. We got some storms coming tonight. But part of the slowdown today was the actual shear pin on that brush hog. I had one on there. I guess it was kind of rusty, so it broke pretty quick. First fire ant hill, let's say, that I ended up hitting. And then went back to the truck. I was able to find, I think, 3 galvanized lag bolts that I was able to put on there. Sheared the first 2. Then what I ended up doing is I just lifted the brush hog a little bit higher and get it out of the ground, because what was causing me my grief were these big fire ant hills. So these were more than enough to cause that blade to slow down quick enough to cause that shear pin to break.
Thank you all for joining me today. If you enjoy this type of content, please hit that subscribe button so you'll be notified when my new videos come out. Here's a quick aerial shot showing the finished product. See y'all next time.